Everyone pictures endless savannas and thundering herds when they think of the continent. But Africa also hides ancient stone circles and ruins that whisper stories older than agriculture itself. In this video, I'll take you across Africa to uncover its famous places and astonishing links to distant mysteries like Göbekli Tepe, a temple complex predating Stonehenge and built by hunter-gatherers. Hidden atop a 200-meter granite column, the Sigiriya Plateau rises from the Sri Lankan jungle and preserves one of the world's rarest ancient hydraulic garden systems. Do you know Sigiriya's mirror wall once reflected the faces of royal visitors and still bears poems penned by pilgrims centuries ago? Beneath the famed frescoes of the Sigiriya Maidens, a carefully engineered sequence of pools, canals, and terraces demonstrated unmatched water management for its era. The water gardens are not mere decoration, but living technology. With hidden conduits, underground cisterns, and star-shaped ponds that control flow with exquisite precision. Carved into the rock, the Lion's Gate once welcomed visitors through massive paws, hinting at a fortress and palace that blended power with ritual. King Kassiapa's ambition turned this isolated rock into a citadel, with chambers, audience halls, and secret stairways clinging to vertical façades. Walkways reveal traces of an ancient city that radiated outward, where agricultural terraces and planned gardens harmonized with the surrounding forest. Archaeologists still uncover surprises: pressed clay pipes, terracotta drains, and botanical remains that tell a story of urban planning lost for centuries. The frescoes themselves, created from mineral pigments bound with organic resins, have survived monsoon winds to preserve faces that seem to look back through time. Close inspection shows layers of restoration and graffiti, each marking a new chapter in Sigiriya's long and turbulent history. The site's strategic vision also protected sacred spaces below, where rock shelters and monasteries connect Sigiriya to the wider cultural triangle. From here, the landscape rolls toward the cave temples of Dambulla and the ruins of Polonnaruwa, threading human stories across centuries. Stand at the summit, and the view collapses myths. Irrigation lines, forest corridors, and ancient roads reveal how this small hub governed vast stretches. The true wonder is not only the cliff itself, but how an entire society shaped earth and water to declare identity and control. To follow that human current is to travel beyond stone, into the temples and reservoirs that make Sri Lanka's past pulse with life. And as Sigiriya hands its story to neighboring sites, the journey continues into caves, lakes, and cities that complete this island's extraordinary tapestry. vast seasonal lake swells to 5 times its dry size each monsoon, and Cambodia's Tonle Sap becomes the planet's largest inland fishery. Do you know Tonle Sap reverses its flow annually, flooding forests that nourish the rice paddies and the engineers of Angkor Wat? Angkor Wat's outer moat mirrors the Skithithai, but beneath its reflection lies an engineered hydrology few historians fully understand. Hidden canals and reservoirs allowed the Khmer to store monsoon water and irrigate vast temple cities during droughts. The temple itself faces west, unlike most Khmer shrines, hinting at funerary rites and astronomical alignments tied to royal power. Carved galleries narrate myth and daily life, while bas-reliefs map battle formations and trade routes that linked Angkor across Asia. Stone towers rise like lotus buds pierced by jungle light, each corbelled chamber whispering secrets of labor, faith, and celestial kingship. Recent LiDAR surveys revealed urban sprawl beyond the temple, canals and causeways radiating from Angkor like the veins of an ancient metropolis. Under the moss, inscriptions and unfinished sculptures suggest craftsmen experimented with architectural forms that influenced Southeast Asia for centuries. You can still trace the handprints of builders in tool marks and the scale of human design that tamed monsoon rhythms. Angkor's stones were once painted bright, with pigment residues now studied to rebuild the temple's original color story. Archaeobotanists searching soil profiles uncovered rice varieties and pollen that tie crop choices directly to temple construction phases. Modern conservationists face shifting water tables and tourist pressures as they attempt to read and preserve Angkor's living hydrology. Between collapsed galleries, you can still imagine processions, royal barges slipping along reconstructed reservoirs under a tropical skyonfries. Every carved face and gutter channel is a clue to how an empire synchronized monument, agriculture, and cosmos into a single landscape. In discovering Angkor, we're also discovering how ecosystems and human ingenuity co-created one of the world's most sophisticated pre-industrial cities. And the story is unfinished. What will we learn next? Mount Kailash in Tibet holds one of the world's only 4-way watershed peaks, feeding the Indus, Sutlej, Brahmaputra, and Karnali rivers that sustain millions. Do you know that Mount Kailash is revered as the spiritual axis mundi by Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and Bon followers, and that pilgrims circumnavigate it in a ritual called the Kora? The mountain's perfect pyramid silhouette rises abruptly from the Tibetan plateau, untouched by climbers due to its sacred status. Local lore says even the footprints on its flanks belong to deities, and some maps still show it as a forbidden zone. Downhill, pale blue Lake Manasarovar mirrors Kailash and is believed to cleanse sins for anyone who bathes in its glacial waters. Its high-altitude beaches cradle ancient monasteries and pilgrim camps where whispered chants mix with wind and prayer flags. Every year, tens of thousands perform the grueling 52-kilometer clockwise Kora, often in one day, some prostrating every few steps in an act that can take months. Modern trekkers find the landscape brutally beautiful. Sterile deserts of scree, sudden green valleys, and the slow blue of distant rivers. Geologists trace the mountain's sharp contours to tectonic collisions, but for millennia, people have measured its importance by stories and rituals, not rock samples. Those stories link Kailash to other sacred landscapes, the Ganges headwaters, the monasteries of Nagari, and holy sites across the Himalaya. Pilgrimage routes knit villages together, carrying goods, gossip, and shared traditions that make the region's human map as old as its glaciers. When the meltwaters descend, they carve channels that join far-reaching deltas, connecting this remote peak to plains and cities hundreds of miles away. Yet political borders and altitude have kept Kailash's inner life private, preserving rituals that outsiders often glimpse only at the fringes. As roads inch closer and tourism grows, locals balance hospitality with the pressure of change, protecting what they call the mountain's spirit. In the next part, we'll follow a pilgrim's path from the lake's shores, up the pass, and around the mountain, listening to the chants that mark each step. Beneath the northwestern slopes of Mount Fuji, Aokigahara harbors one of the world's densest forests, grown atop solidified lava, its twisted roots, and iron-rich soil, creating an unusually silent and otherworldly landscape. Do you know Aokigahara is so rich in volcanic minerals that compass needles can falter, and traditional forest sounds fall strangely muted among the moss-covered lava formations? Visitors often describe a weight to the air here, an intimate stillness that feels engineered by centuries of cooling lava and ferns reclaiming barren rock. Historians and scientists point to its porous ground and dense canopy as reasons wildlife behaves differently, with fewer birdsong interruptions and a carpet of rare lichens and saplings. Less talked about is Aokigahara's centuries-long reputation in Japanese folklore as a place where spirits and ancient iron deposits intersect, lending the forest an entirely different cultural texture. Archaeologists have found remains of human activity dating back to the Heian period, giving the forest layered stories beyond its visible beauty. Paths here can change in width and light within meters, folding you into green tunnels lined by basalt and roots that climb like centuries-old ropes. Park rangers map the area carefully, but even modern trails sometimes lead to still pockets where the sunlight hardly reaches and tiny ecosystems thrive. Scientists studying Aokigahara have documented microclimates and endemic moss species that survive only where iron-rich lava meets coastal humidity. Those small survivors tell a larger tale about ecological resilience and how life engineers unexpected niches on barren substrates. Yet Aokigahara's silence carries human stories too, from ancient myths to contemporary attitudes about solitude and fate in Japan. Local guides respect both the scientific significance and the emotional weight visitors bring, balancing education with quiet stewardship. If you listen closely, the forest teaches patience. Footprints fade fast, and what seems permanent dissolves under moss and time. Listen for the tiny announcements of life beneath the blackened bark. They are the forest's quiet replies. On Turkey's limestone steppe, Göbekli Tepe sits amid one of the world's rare semi-arid steppe ecosystems that preserve millennia-old pollen records. Do you know Göbekli Tepe was intentionally buried around 8000 BCE? Hiding 20-ton T-shaped pillars carved with fierce animals long before cities existed. Radiocarbon dates push its construction back to at least 9600 BCE, meaning these carved circles predate Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids by millennia. Yet archaeologists find almost no houses there, only monumental pillars shaped by flint tools and arranged in concentric rings, suggesting ritual builders who commanded labor without settled agriculture. The T-pillars bear lifelike reliefs of foxes, boars, vultures, and strange abstract arms, an iconography that seems to record myths and perhaps even constellations. Some scholars argue these images map the sky or seasonal cycles, and nearby Karakada obsidian sources show this hilltop ritual attracted visitors across Anatolia and the Fertile Crescent. Around 8000 BCE, the enclosures were carefully backfilled, sealing art and stones beneath meters of earth and creating one of prehistory's strangest time capsules. Although hints had existed for decades, a chance discovery and the excavations led by Klaus Schmidt since 1995 revealed its true age and monumental scale. Göbekli Tepe forces us to rethink causality, that communal ritual complexity may have preceded and even stimulated the turn to farming and settled life. Walk a few kilometers and you touch layers of continuity in southeastern Turkey, where modern shrines at Şanlıurfa echo an ancient landscape of pilgrimage and memory. Beneath unexcavated earth lie more enclosures and unhewn carvings. Each season reveals new surprises that rewrite the first chapters of human history. In this film, we'll follow the stones from their quarries to the circles themselves and uncover how Göbekli Tepe connects a scattered prehistoric world into an emerging narrative of sacred places. At Chichen Itza's edge sits the sacred cenote, a limestone sinkhole connected to the Yucatan's vast underground river system, found almost nowhere else on Earth. Do you know that the Pyramid of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza was built as a living solar calendar with its 365 steps, and that its shadow forms a serpent that slithers down the stairs during the equinox? Archaeologists still pull gold, jade, and human remains from the sacred cenote, revealing rituals that tied the living to subterranean waters. The waters below are part of freshwater arteries that sustained Maya cities and preserved secrets, now being mapped by divers. Stand inside the Great Ball Court, and a single clap returns 7 rippling echoes, a sonic trick that resembles the chirp of the Quetzal bird. That acoustic design was deliberate, an ancient engineering flourish that transformed stone into an instrument of power and myth. Carved warrior columns and Toltec-influenced motifs show Chichen Itza as a cultural crossroads where Maya tradition met northern influences. This fusion links Chichen Itza to sites like Tula and to far-flung trade routes stretching across Mesoamerica. Beneath the verdant canopy, hidden stairways and plastered friezes whisper of kings and tournaments whose rules the stones still remember. Walk the avenue from the temple to the sacred cenote, and you'll feel how ritual, water, and astronomy threaded the city's daily life. Recent LiDAR surveys have revealed suburban sprawl of smaller settlements surrounding the central Plaza Plazas, redefining how we see ancient urban planning. Those discoveries connect Chichen Itza to a living landscape where cenotes, roads, and farms formed an engineered world. Visitors today follow patterns set millennia ago. Pilgrims to the cenote, priests to the pyramid, athletes to the ball court. Each place hands you to the next, a loop of ceremony, science, and spectacle that still catches us off guard. If you think you know the Maya from textbooks, Chichen Itza will show you hidden chapters written in shadow, water, and stone. Stay with us, and we will peel back those chapters, starting with the sacred cenote's deepest offerings and the secrets they still keep. We'll trace the route of jade and obsidian that fed its ceremonies and the myths that turned calendars into architecture. And we'll follow the subterranean currents that linked Chichen Itza to cenotes, islands of the living under the ground. Socotra's dragon blood trees, with their umbrella crowns, create surreal forests found almost nowhere else on Earth. Do you know Socotra harbors roughly a third of its plant species as endemics, making it an island of living experiments? Monsoon winds and volcanic geology have carved microclimates where bizarre, bottle-shaped trees and stunted succulents thrive. Local islanders still collect the crimson resin, known as dragon's blood, prized since antiquity for medicine and varnish. Beyond plants, Socotra shelters lizards that blink turquoise, birds that evolved in isolation, and insects found nowhere else. The sounds of Socotri, a modern South Arabian language, drift across valleys and connect culture directly to this unique ecology. Fishermen and goat herders live in villages where traditional knowledge maps every plant, tide, and wind for survival. Ancient navigation routes linked Socotra to the Horn of Africa and Arabian trade, so its wildness carries echoes of old worlds. Many scientists compare the island to a natural laboratory for studying evolution, extinction, and climate resilience in miniature. Researchers return with specimens, stories of stranger-than-fiction species, and questions about how islands shape life's creativity. Caves on Socotra hide fragile speleothems and archaeological traces that hint at millennia of human and natural interaction. UNESCO recognized its global value, yet the island remains remote, mysterious, and vulnerable to modern pressures. Rising seas, Invasive goats and increasing tourism now threaten delicate niches that took millions of years to form. Conservation efforts try to balance livelihoods and protection, turning local traditions into tools for safeguarding biodiversity. Come with us as we trace a path from dragon trees to desert roses and into the hidden stories written in Socotra's soil. You will meet people whose daily lives depend on plants that exist nowhere else and learn why their future matters to the planet. The Banaue rice terraces in the Philippines were carved into the mountains over 2,000 years ago and are one of the rare living landscapes sculpted using original Ifugao engineering and sacred rituals. Do you know the terraces act as giant living aquifers, channeling mountain springs through gravity-fed canals to nourish crops far below, a practice known locally as muhyom? High above the clouds, each level glitters with water in the wet season and turns a tapestry of emerald during planting, a seasonal rhythm tied to the lunar calendar and communal festivals. Farmers here don't just plant rice, they steward ancestral seed varieties that carry genetic traits not found in commercial strains, preserving biodiversity that scientists only recently began to study. The stones lining the terraces are more than retaining walls. They mark family boundaries, oral histories, and rituals that ensure terraces are repaired and water shared when rains fail. Walk with an Ifugao elder, and you'll hear stories of rice spirits and rice laws that governed everything from marriage offerings to mountain forestry, keeping the system balanced for generations. The terraces also hide microhabitats where rare orchids and endemic ferns cling to damp ledges, attracting researchers who come hoping to catalog species unknown to modern science. On moonlit nights, traditional rice planting songs still rise from the paddies, a living archive of language and melody that ties people to place and crop cycles. To understand Banaue is to see how human hands shape the earth and how, in return, the terraces shaped ways of living that might teach resilience in a changing climate. Stay with us, and we'll uncover the hidden rituals, rare seeds, and the people who keep this thousand-year conversation between mountain, water, and rice alive. We'll meet farmers conserving heirloom grains and scientists mapping terrace hydrology to build climate-adaptive strategies that honor Ifugao knowledge. By the end of this segment, you'll see why the Banaue rice terraces are not merely a tourist image, but a living, fragile system that bridges past and future. Hidden within Jordan's rose-red sandstone, Petra preserves one of the world's most sophisticated ancient waterworks, built to capture winter snowmelt and turn desert rock into flourishing gardens. Do you know Petra's psyche hides a natural acoustic phenomenon that can turn a whispered secret into a resonant echo along the gorge? The Nabateans carved entire facades, tombs and temples directly into the cliffs, transforming living stone into an urban skyline long before concrete existed. What visitors call the treasury, Al-Khazne, is not a treasure chest at all, but a monumental tomb hollowed out in the 1st century BCE, its interior still holding clues to ancient funeral rites. Beneath those carved fronts ran dams, cisterns, and channels, an engineered heartbeat that allowed a city of thousands to thrive in an arid valley. For centuries, Petra vanished from most maps, kept alive by local Bedouin memory, and finally revealed to Europe in 1812 by the disguised traveler Johann Ludwig Burckhardt. Petra's stones shift color through the day because layers of iron and other minerals oxidize and reflect light in ways that paint the cliffs from pale pink to deep purple. The city sat at the crossroads of trade. Nabatean caravans moved frankincense, myrrh, and spices to Alexandria and Europe, blending Hellenistic, Arabian, and Eastern architectural styles. Hidden chambers, monasteries, and royal tombs still peer from canyon mouths, suggesting much of Petra's story remains unexcavated beneath dust and shadow. Modern archaeologists now use LiDAR and 3D photogrammetry to peel away time digitally, revealing streets, courtyards, and waterworks invisible to the naked eye. Despite international fame, Petra faces erosion, salt weathering, and the strain of millions of visitors, turning preservation into a race against time. Its trade arteries ran to the Red Sea at ancient Aqaba and across Wadi Rum's desert, linking Petra to maritime routes that shaped empires and cultures beyond its canyon walls. Some scholars now suggest that select facades align with seasonal light, hinting at an embedded calendar of stone and sun. Stay with us, and you will learn how a single beam of sunlight once marked a Nabatean season, and why Petra's secrets continue to ripple through archaeology and culture today. High in the Andean cloud forest, Machu Picchu perches on a narrow ridgeline. As one of the world's rare high-altitude Inca citadels, woven into living terraces and subtropical biodiversity. Do you know Machu Picchu sits at nearly 2,430 meters and channels mountain hydrology so precisely that its stone drainage still outperforms many modern systems? Visitors often imagine ruins frozen in time, but the site pulses with microclimates that nurture orchids and hummingbirds among ancient stones. Walk its Intihuatana platform, and you trace astronomical alignments the Incas used to mark solstices and agricultural cycles across the sacred valley below. From the terraces, your eye follows the Urubamba River, whose serpentine canyons once linked Machu Picchu to Cusco, and the sprawling Inca road network. That connection is tangible on the Inca Trail, where each stone step climbs through cloud forests and past ruins that stitch Machu Picchu into a larger imperial landscape. The city's urban core, temples, plazas, and finely cut stones, reveals an obsession with precision and harmony with the mountain, not conquest. Local Quechua communities still tell stories that blend living memory with archaeological layers, guiding visitors from Machu Picchu toward the salt terraces of Maras and the agricultural mosaics of Mori. Crossing from highlands to valley, you see how the Incas engineered microclimates using altitude, feeding diverse crops that sustained an empire across Peru's varied ecology. Today, conservationists balance tourism and preservation, tracing pathways that protect fragile cloud forests while keeping the living history of Machu Picchu accessible. Every sunrise here feels like a reveal. Mist lifts, terraces catch the light, and you begin to understand why this place was both sanctuary and laboratory for ancient engineers. Step by step, the stones communicate techniques of drainage, seismic resilience, and social organization that modern engineers and historians are only beginning to decode. To stand here is to stand between civilizations, to feel the river, the ridge, and the long chain of places that together form Peru's living geological story. Lake Titicaca sits at 3,812 meters and hides underwater stone causeways and ruins that predate the Inca Empire. Do you know that on Lake Titicaca, entire Euros communities still live on man-made Totora reed islands that are intentionally rebuilt every few years to control buoyancy and ritual life? Those reed islands are not quaint souvenirs. They are living engineering, with layers of fresh totora, anchored ropes, and secret techniques passed down through generations. From those floating villages we glide to Tequila, where men weave textiles so intricate that patterns encode identity, marriage status, and cosmology. On Tequila, the knitters follow an oral law older than colonial maps, and UNESCO recognized their communal textile system as intangible cultural heritage. A short crossing away lies Isla del Sol, the fabled birthplace of Inca founders, where terraces, carved stones, and ritual platforms still whisper origin myths. Local guides point out sunken stairways and submerged offerings along shores that show people have shaped this landscape for millennia. Beyond human craft, Titicaca shelters life found almost nowhere else on Earth, from the bloated Titicaca water frog to the flightless grebe that dives like a stone. Those species evolved in isolation, adapting to thin air and cold waters, and today face threats from introduced trout and changing climates. Conservation here is as much cultural as ecological, with reed harvesters, fishermen, and archaeologists working side by side to protect living memory. Stay with us as we uncover a secret ritual on Isla de la Luna. Meet a reed boat builder who still uses pre-Columbian knots, and dive into the submerged stories that make Lake Titicaca one of the strangest, most sacred places on the planet. Borobudur perches on Java's Kedu Plain, uniquely set between the active volcanoes Mount Merapi and Mount Merbabu, making Indonesia one of the few places where a colossal Buddhist monument rises directly in a live volcanic landscape. Do you know that Borobudur's builders engineered an advanced hidden drainage system, a labyrinth of gutters and spouts, to protect its base reliefs from the region's torrential monsoon downpours? Carved in the 9th century under the Sailendra dynasty, the temple unfolds as a layered mandala of stone, where nearly 2,672 relief panels and 504 Buddha statues map a journey from earthly desire to enlightened nirvana. Those reliefs are not merely decorative. They record Javanese life, cosmology, and even maritime trade routes, that linked Indonesia to the wider Indian Ocean world. At sunrise, mist from the volcanic slopes threads through the stupas, revealing silhouettes that seem to float between earth and sky. Local villagers still climb the same terraces to perform centuries-old rituals, keeping cultural threads alive between Borobudur, the nearby Mendut and Pawan temples, and the living landscape that shaped them. For decades, Borobudur was buried under volcanic ash and jungle until rediscovery in the 19th century, a survival story that earned it UNESCO protection after an extensive restoration in the 1970s. That restoration unearthed secrets like the original lime-based mortar and stone placement techniques that modern conservators still study to protect the monument from erosion and seismic strain. Less known is how seasonal fog and volcanic aerosols slowly alter the stone's surface chemistry, a subtle threat that scientists monitor alongside traditional caretakers. Their work balances ritual cleaning with cutting-edge conservation, a collaboration that binds ancient practice to modern science. Walking Borobudur's spiraling terraces, you trace a pilgrimage designed to transform, where each step is a lesson in cosmology carved into volcanic basalt. And just beyond the temple's silhouette, rice terraces, local markets, and coffee plantations create an earthy counterpoint to the monument's spiritual architecture. In the next section, we'll follow the hidden artisans who still carve replicas of the temple's panels and the guides who interpret its stories for the new waves of travelers. You'll discover how Borobudur connects to Indonesia's larger story, from Majapahit kings to modern conservation, and why this stone mandala still speaks to millions. The Banaue rice terraces in the Philippines were carved into the mountains over 2,000 years ago and are one of the rare living landscapes sculpted using original Ifugao engineering and sacred rituals. Do you know the terraces act as giant living aquifers, channeling mountain springs through gravity-fed canals to nourish crops far below, a practice known locally as muhyong? High above the clouds, each level glitters with water in the wet season and turns a tapestry of emerald during planting, a seasonal rhythm tied to the lunar calendar and communal festivals. Farmers here don't just plant rice, they steward ancestral seed varieties that carry genetic traits not found in commercial strains, preserving biodiversity that scientists only recently began to study. The stones lining the terraces are more than retaining walls. They mark family boundaries, oral histories, and rituals that ensure terraces are repaired and water shared when rains fail. Walk with an Ifugao elder and you'll hear stories of rice spirits and rice laws that governed everything from marriage offerings to mountain forestry, keeping the system balanced for generations. The terraces also hide microhabitats where rare orchids and endemic ferns cling to damp ledges, attracting researchers who come hoping to catalog species unknown to modern science. On moonlit nights, traditional rice planting songs still rise from the paddies, a living archive of language and melody that ties people to place and crop cycles. To understand Banaue is to see how human hands shape the earth and how, in return, the terraces shaped ways of living that might teach resilience in a changing climate. Stay with us, and we'll uncover the hidden rituals, rare seeds, and the people who keep this thousand-year conversation between mountain, water, and rice alive. We'll meet farmers conserving heirloom grains and scientists mapping terrace hydrology to build climate-adaptive strategies that honor Ifugao knowledge. By the end of this segment, you'll see why the Banaue rice terraces are not merely a tourist image, but a living, fragile system that bridges past and future. From the inland floodplains of the Okavango Delta to the burning lava lake of Nyiragongo, Africa stitches together extremes that exist nowhere else on Earth. Do you know the Congo Basin's hidden peatlands lock away billions of tons of carbon, quietly shaping the global climate from the heart of the continent? Mount Kilimanjaro rises as Africa's icy sentinel, its shrinking glaciers telling a story of change that stretches from highlands to coastal lagoons. Lake Natron, with its caustic blood-red waters, turns flamingo colonies into living monuments and sometimes preserves small creatures as stone-like statues. Traveling west, the Namib's singing dunes in Socotra produce deep, resonant tones when sand slides, a geological chorus you can hear if you listen long enough. Further north, the Sahara's hidden oases and rock art reveal ancient roots and climates that contradict the desert's barren reputation. The Danakil Depression throws color into the landscape with neon pools and salt pans, while nearby thermal activity supports life in forms both fragile and fierce. On the southern tip, Table Mountain watches over Cape Town, its endemic plants found nowhere else and its slopes connecting marine life to mountain fynbos. Each place feeds the next. Rivers from highlands nourish wetlands that host migratory birds, which in turn sustain predators and human communities. Conservation efforts, scientific discoveries, and local traditions are stitched together across borders, proving that protecting one wonder helps preserve many more. If you've been surprised by any of these strange, beautiful facts, that's only the beginning. Every valley, reef, and desert has a secret waiting to be understood. Join us beyond the maps and headlines to meet the people, the species, and the surprising science that keep Africa's wild heart beating.